Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahim. Today, inshallah, we are going to completely talk about the different types of taxes using numerical examples. As we mentioned before, that we have three main types of taxes: progressive taxes, regressive taxes, and proportional taxes. Okay? For the progressive taxes, as income goes up, the tax rate goes up as well. So there is a positive relationship between the income and the tax rate. This is for the progressive taxes. Here we have a positive relationship under the progressive taxes. For the regressive taxes, there is a negative relationship between income and, this is for the progressive taxes. For the regressive taxes, there is a negative relationship between income and the tax rates. As the income goes up, there is a decreasing in tax rates. The third type of taxes is the flat tax or the proportional taxes. The third is the proportional tax. The flat tax. All taxpayers pay the same tax rates. Okay? Let's come back quickly here to the progressive taxes using a numerical example. Here's an example for the progressive taxes. We have two consumers. Paul and Jonathan are both teachers. Okay? Paul earns $100,000 a year and Jonathan earns $50,000 a year. They both pay tax at 20% of the first $30,000 and 40% on any income earned above $30,000. This is an example for the progressive taxes. Okay? The question is how much each one of them must pay. For Powell, the gross pay here, he paid a salary of $100,000 a year. The first $30,000, he should pay 20%. So 20% times $30,000. The first part of his income, he has to pay $6,000. Okay? What about the additional part of income? How much is the amount still here? 100,000, still $70,000. The left amount of income is $70,000. مظبوط؟ قديش لازم يدفع؟ 40%. Because the question here is, he earns how much? $100,000 a year. The first part of his income, he has to pay 20%, and the left amount, the second amount of his income, he has to pay 40% of any income earned above 30. How much is the income above 30,000? 70,000. Here for Powell here, the left amount here is $70,000. How much does he pay here? 40%. So $28,000 on this part of his income. So how much is the liability here? The total tax liabilities. equals $6,000 plus $28,000 here. The total amount for paid here for taxes equal $34,000. The first part of his income, he has to pay $6,000, and the left amount, 70, he has to pay $28,000. So the total amount of tax will be $34. Okay? What about the Jonathan here? Jonathan, gross amount here, or the total income, equals $50,000. $50,000. The first part of his income, $30,000, he has to pay 20%. So, the same as Howard. According to the first part of his income, he has to pay $6,000. 20% times $30,000, he has to pay $6,000. But what about the left amount? The left amount is 20, because 30 plus 20 equals 50,000. He has to pay 40% out of this amount. How much? 8. 40% times 20% equals $8,000. So the total liability, tax liability here, equals $6,000 plus $8,000 equals $14,000. تمام? What do you see? What do you see? Powell earns $100,000. This is for Powell. And he pays how much? How much did he pay here? $34,000. What about Jonathan here? Jonathan earns $50,000. And he paid how much? $14,000. Sorry, yes. That's good. What do you see? Even though Powell earns twice as much as Jonathan, he earns twice as much as Jonathan, he ends up paying over 2.4 times the amount of tax for Jonathan. صح؟ ملاحظين؟ هذا الانكم تبع 100,000، هذا 50,000 twice. تمام؟ He pays larger than twice. هذا في progressive taxes. تمام؟ If we want to apply the regressive taxes on this, in this example, let us assume that the same example here, but we will apply the regressive taxes, not the progressive taxes. We will use the regressive taxes system. There are two. The first one, the same. His income is Powell earns $100,000 a year, and Jonathan $50,000 a year. And this is the same here. The first part, they both pay tax at 20% of the first $30,000. And here we're talking about regressive taxes. خلي لهذا بدل 40% خليه 10%. What do you see? What is the result here? Powell, gross pay 100,000. The first 30,000 of income equals 20%, and here is 10%. How much is it? 7,000. How much is it? 6,000 plus 7, $13,000. What about Jonathan? 20%. This is the first part is still the same. You're 10%, 2,000 instead of 8. So the total here is 7,000. Sorry, 8,000. 8,000. What do you see? Let's compare the results here. Powell's income is twice as much as Jonathan. He pays how much? Sorry, 13,000. Yes. So here for Powell, he earns $100,000 and pays 13,000. And Jonathan earns 50,000 and pays how much? 8,000. Dollars for taxes. What do you see? How much the tax rate here, or the total tax? 13%. And here, how much is it? Or let's divide 13,000 over 8,000 equals how much? 1.6. Sorry? 1.6. For the progressive taxes, هذا twice as much as هذا هيك مظبوط وكان بيدفع قديش 2.4 في البروجريسيف تاكسز كان بيدفع كان 2.4 قسم اللي هو 28,000 على كانت 2.4 مظبوط progressive taxes هذا twice double تبع هذا مظبوط pays 1.6 تمام تمام okay. What about the proportional taxes? For the proportional taxes, it's a lump sum tax rate. Here, let us assume that in the same example here, Powell earns $100,000 and Jonathan earns $50,000. Okay? And the flat tax or proportional tax, for the proportional tax here, the same example, but we will apply the flat tax or the proportional tax or the fixed tax. Fixed tax rate. Let us assume here, or the flat tax is applied on the gross income, lump sum. So let us assume that the tax rate is 10%. And ignore all these assumptions here. Let's neglect the assumptions here. We are gonna apply the flat taxes system or the proportional tax system. How much should Powell pays for taxes and Jonathan? Powell must pay 100% times 10% equals he must pay $10,000. under the fixed tax rate or the flat tax rate or the proportional tax rate. So, and this is for Powell. What about Jonathan here? Jonathan should pay 50,000 times 10%. It's a lump sum here, or fixed taxes on the gross income. So, for Jonathan, under the flat tax or the proportional tax, he has to pay 50,000 times 10% equals $5,000. Okay? So, we have three types of taxes: regressive taxes, progressive taxes, and proportional taxes. For the progressive taxes, this is for the progressive taxes, there is a positive relationship between the income, the earned income, and the tax rate. The higher income, the higher tax rate. For the regressive taxes, it should be negative. The larger or the higher tax, the higher income, the lower tax rate is. So it ignores the ability to pay principal. مظبوط? It doesn't fit the ability to pay principal. But for the progressive taxes, it's applied. The principal, or fits with the principal here. What about the flat tax rate or the proportional tax rate? Should be the same. All taxpayers have to pay the same tax rate. So, the person with income of $50,000 has to pay here 10%. And the person who received or granted a salary of $100,000 has to pay 10%. Larger, there is no relationship between the income and the tax rate paid. So it also ignores the principle of the ability to pay principal here. Okay? تمام؟ طيب, let's go to something else. Here's the regressive taxes. Let's go to the proportional tax or flat tax system. As we mentioned that, there is no relationship between the size of income and the percentage of tax or the tax rate. So, the proportional tax or the flat tax is a system under which all taxpayers pay taxes at the same percentage rate of their total income. They have to pay the same tax rate. A proportional or a flat tax is a system that applies the same tax rate to every taxpayer regardless of income brackets. There are no brackets here. There are no classification for the brackets and applying the different tax rates. Here we have a lump sum. Okay? So, typically a flat tax applies the same tax rate to all taxpayers with no deduction or exemption allowed. Here we have an example. Here's the graph that shows what? The relationship between the earned income in $1,000 and the tax rate. Like here we have the fees paid for schools, for universities that are, regardless of their income, they have to pay the same tax rates, okay? Here we have, for example here, a 10% proportional tax would mean that when making $100 pay 10% or $10 in taxes, while someone making $500,000 pays $50,000 in taxes. The rate of taxation does not change as income changes, as you see. The proportionate tax are also called the flat tax. Here, the sales taxes is a type of proportional taxes, since all the consumers, regardless of earning, are required to pay the same fixed rates. For the sales taxes, regardless of their income, they have to pay the same tax rates. Okay? Here the same example. We have we have two types of taxes: the direct and indirect taxes. Value-added taxes is indirect taxes, and the income taxes is classified as indirect taxes. Okay? هذا لو pay and we will check it now, but we will go to the value-added taxes using example. It's applied in the Palestinian economy here. To understand the idea of the value-added taxes, let us assume, or let us have the following example before the definition. Before definition, we will use a numerical example to understand the idea of the value-added taxes, and then we will come back to the narrative issues. Here the definition for the value-added taxes. We have three examples, numerical examples, to understand the idea here. Kelly buys an article for $10,000. Kelly buys an article for $10,000 and pays 7% tax. He sells the same article for $13,000 to someone else. He buys it by $10,000, okay? Using taxes, the consumption taxes, purchasing taxes by $700, and he sells the same article. He bought it by $10,000 and paid taxes for $700, and he sells it by 13%, and it charges 9% as a tax. To understand the idea of how the value of the value-added taxes, we're going to find the value-added taxes paid by Kelly. The cost of article here is $10,000. Okay? The tax paid by Kelly here. He bought it by $10,000 using taxes by 7. So the tax paid by him equals how much? 7% of 10,000 equals 700 times $7. So 700 times the purchasing value, or yes, the price of purchasing here, 10,000, equals how much? $700. This is the tax paid by Kelly. Okay? And he sold it to someone else by 13,000 and gets or charges 9%. So here we have the selling price for the article equals $13, and tax charges at 9%. The question is, how much is the taxes here? The selling price and tax, or the taxes charged, equals 9%. Here's the tax charged at 9% equals 9% of 13. So the tax charged equals 9% times 13%, $13,000 equal how much? 1,170. تمام؟ قديش الفاليو added taxes؟ طبعا هي. Therefore, the value added taxes equals tax recovered on sales minus the tax paid on purchase. تمام؟ إذا هذا هيك الثيوري بتقول إنه ال value added taxes equals the tax recovered on sales minus tax paid on purchase. اللي هو طلع هذا الرقم اللي هو 1170 minus التاكس received هذا التاكس paid on purchase بيطلع لنا ال 470. This is the value added taxes. باختصار اشترينا ودفعنا عليه taxes، اخذنا taxes paid taxes، بعناها واخذنا taxes. الفرق بينهم هذول اسمه value added taxes. تمام؟ مين مش فاهم؟ اوكي. Another example here. A retailer buys تجار تجزئة هذول. Retailer buys an article from a wholesaler at $80. هذا البرسنج البرايس تبعه $80 and the wholesaler charges a sales tax at the prescribed rate of 80 or 8%. معنى هو اشتراها بسعر، هذا الريتيلر اشتراها ب $80 وبيد لمين؟ للهولسيلر 80 or 8%. اللي اخذها هذا الريتيلر وراح بيعها لحد ثاني للكونسيومرز، ولا نشوف لمين. The retailer fixes the price at $100 and it charges sales taxes at the same rate. برضه 8%. بمعنى هو اشتراها ب 80 ودفع 8%، باعها ب 100 ودفع 8%. طيب نشوف شو الامور عندنا هيك. Apply the value added tax system of sales taxes calculation to answer the following questions. شوف شو المطلوب في الاكسرسايز هذا. What is the price that the consumer has to pay to buy the article؟ هلا احنا بنمشي في سايكل من wholesaler to retailer to the consumer here, the final consumer. طبعا شغلت زي المنشار، انتوا شايفين؟ والجفرمنت كلها عند الجفرمنت كله. تمام؟ نشوف شو الامور. Because the first is what is the price that the consumer has to pay to buy the article. This is number one. Number two, find the input tax and the output tax for the retailer. Number three, how much is the value added tax does the retailer pay to the government? لأنه في الآخر هو الريتيلر بيجمع التاكسز بودع الجفرمنت، بتصب عنده في الآخر الأمور. تمام؟ نشوف. So the first question is what is the price that the consumer has to pay to buy the article? نشوف. Here's the price. هو 180 صحيح. لأنه هو إيش اللي صار؟ هي. Here's the price is 100. The rate of sales taxes 8%. Therefore, the cost price of the consumer equals هي الفورمولا اللي بنشتغل عليها. البرايس في 1 plus tax rate over 100. Here's equals 108. تمام؟ لأن هو وصلته انباعت ب 100 ونحط عليها 8%. خلص 100. تمام. طيب نشوف الانبوت tax or the tax paid by the retailer to the wholesaler. قديش دفع الريتيلر للهول سيلر؟ برضه 8% من مين؟ من ال 80. هيو لانه عندنا دفع هي ال 8. عندنا هذا دفع لمين؟ retailer buys an article from the wholesalers at 80 وعليهم 8%. قديش المفروض انه صار دفع له هيك؟ 8 في 8 بيطلع 6 بوينت كذا تقريبا 6.4. صح؟ هذا بسموها هيك الانبوت تاكسز. طب نشوف الاوتبوت تاكسز. The retailer or the output taxes the tax realized by the retailer from the consumer. قديش اخذ منه؟ اخذ منه 8. تطلع الفات قديش؟ 8 minus هذا 6.4. This is the value added taxes. Output taxes minus input taxes. This is the value added taxes. Okay? Let's go to the definition for the value added taxes here. The value added taxes as indirect and indirect taxes. This is the tax one pays when they buy goods or services. Okay? The shopkeeper or service providers adds it to the cost of the goods or services. باختصار في عندنا ناس اشترت وباعت، في عندنا hand taxes و hand taxes. Difference between them. This is known as the consumer tax in some countries. In some countries, the goods are priced in the shop minus the type of taxes. But when the consumer comes to the checkout, no, just you have to understand the idea. تمام؟ افهم الidea وخلاص. Here's the idea. How can we calculate the value-added taxes? It's applied by the numerical example. It's here. Pay as you earn. Direct taxes, income taxes. Pay as you earn. This is the tax that employees pays on the amount of their salaries. بس. تمام? In many countries, employers have to collect this tax from their employees' pay packet. That's it. يعطيكم العافية.